Hey, good Tuesday evening, everyone. This is State Representative Brad Halbrook with another Tuesday night Illinois Freedom Caucus roundtable discussion, and I'm joined with State Director of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, Colin Mosley, Representative David Freese, Representative Adam Niemerg, and the Chairman, Leader of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, Representative Chris Miller. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. What's going on? Kind of quiet out there.
Yes, it is. I don't know. Is that a good thing?
Well, it may be. That may be a signal that we ought to just get right into the program tonight. So let's do that. All right. So first up on, if I can find the right mouse here to make us all work. The first up on the slide, and we'll just kind of have some closing. Let's get through our slides, and then we'll kind of have some closing comments as we get into this. So Veto Session returns to Springfield, to the great state of Illinois. And still celebrating what happened on election night. We see things happening in D.C. and across the nation. And gentlemen, are they still counting the votes in Arizona, or is that finally done out there?
I think it's done, but God only knows.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's done like in 2 hours, and Arizona, I'm not sure they're done yet. And of course, Illinois is 2 weeks on the postmarks past the, well, and they have to be postmarked election day, but they can come in for yet 2 more weeks. So anyhow, yeah. All right. So
they're trying to help voter confidence by speedy vote count. That always makes you have to be a little uncomfortable when it's taking this long to figure it out. When, Florida, the second largest state in the country, and they're done and have been done, a couple hours after the polls close.
Right. Yeah, it really makes you think, like, so how many votes do we need to win? Let's go see if we can round those up somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, here it is, Tuesday evening. Veto session started earlier today. We'll have more on that. I guess the question is, what's on the docket? Does anybody really know? And of course, veto session is to deal with vetoes. Gentlemen, how many vetoes do we have to deal with this year?
I don't remember any.
Yeah, I think 0 is the proper number.
I think in my 2 terms, I have seen one bill, and that was the nuclear bill that we talked about in veto.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah. Well, you would think with the supermajority that they have in both chambers and the governor of the same party that there wouldn't be any vetoes. But you're right, the nuclear bill, and there were some changes, good or bad, there were some changes. That was an amendatory veto, I think. So there's 3 or 4 different kinds of vetoes that can happen.
I think he did a line item veto like one time also, but it's really rare.
Right.
I wouldn't expect too much, folks, to come out of veto session. There'll be a lot of complaining about Trump, which will be interesting to see. But we have a lame duck, and in lame duck they need just 60 votes, but right now they need a supermajority. So I don't anticipate anything big coming out of veto, but you just never know.
Never knows, right?
Yeah. So do you think there'll be long faces on the other side, or you just think there'll be a lot of complaining from the floor and behind the scenes about the election night results?
Actually, I think it's going to be for some hot cocoa and a comfort puppy, I would guess.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a mixed bag, Brad. I think we're going to have some long faces. We're going to hear all about how they are the only ones protecting, quotes, women's rights. And then we're going to hear how big of a fascist and misogynist that Trump is. So I think it's going to be a mixed bag. And they're going to toot their horn. Oh, yeah, we still have the supermajority in the House. There's that. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I'm with David on that. I think he's spot on. I think we're going to be reminded for the weeks and months to come that Illinois will be the beacon of the country for standing against the Trump administration and the Republican majorities in D.C., which means Illinois will then be behind the nation in every category like we already are.
Well, and I don't know if you guys read Wirepoint this morning, but they're peeling back the layers of the budget onion and finding that we've got a $23 billion debt hole in our budget because of the lack of any kind of fiscal responsibility from the Pritzker administration. But I'm sure that they won't want to talk about that.
No.
Well, also you've got federal funding that Trump has promised he's going to be cutting. Pritzker, the $3.6 billion unbalanced budget going into the next fiscal year. The reason I think they're throwing a huge fit over this is because they know they're in trouble. So this last week, Pritzker's really been trying to appeal to his base, and that tells me that he's worried because Trump, outperformed everybody's expectations except the guys on this Zoom call, and it was absolutely amazing to see in Illinois.
Right. Yeah, so we're going to see probably more woke ideas. These guys are going to think they have the mandate to just put the pedal down and to the metal, all gas, no brake on this far left woke agenda, Marxist ideas. We're going to probably see more of that, and I know it's a question amongst many of us is like, how far can they go? And they just keep coming up with new things. It's just crazy how far left they can get.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else they can do, though. I mean, that's what puzzles me, and why.
Easy, David.
I know.
We thought that many times.
I shouldn't be surprised, but no,
I think we can hear them on the other side. Just hold my beer and watch.
Well, we got those advisory questions. I mean, I think that those 3 advisory questions are going to reappear in their agenda come this spring. They're going to use these advisory questions passing as the green light to say, hey, well, obviously the state of Illinois wants us to do this and create this tax and make this unhindered insurance mandate, blah, blah, blah. So maybe we'll see some of those.
Yeah, well, and I think go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad. I think you're right, Colin, especially on the income tax. I mean, that question was that they're going to try to push, is somewhat of a graduated income tax, or is going to be an income tax increase to offset these debts. And they had that word in such a way that they'll try to push that.
Yeah, Adam, that's correct. I think this is just going to be an end run around the Constitution and what was tried to attempted, there 2 years ago that failed miserably to try to change the tax structure of the state of Illinois that's in the Constitution. So I think we will see that. And again, they're not any too ashamed to try to do end runs around the Constitution. We see that all the time. And of course, we had recent news on Friday about the gun ban out of the Southern Illinois Federal Court. That's really good news. We don't really have that on our agenda this evening, but that's
on the next
good news.
slide.
Next slide. Okay, to that point. Hey, I want to mention here too on the right side is the Illinois General Assembly website, ilga.gov, and you've got highlighted there in yellow is the audio video. You can also check on the schedules there. And of course, it's divided the 2 different columns, Senate and House, and you can just scroll through there. That's fairly easy to navigate. And of course, many of you guys that are watching here tonight know this stuff and kind of know how to find your way around this website. But this is going to be a really good resource, and or watch our social media pages and or our email and e-newses that go out every week. All right. Any closing thoughts on this page before we go to the next one?
Yeah, I do. One of the things right at the top of the list on what to expect is a rush to leadership votes. So that'll be very entertaining since we only have 38 official members right now.
Well, that's correct, Leader Chairman. We've got 2 members, Republican incumbents. Those races in a week yet have not been called. They're way close. They're within a few hundred votes. We hope for a positive outcome, but we're not going to really know unofficially, unofficially till next Tuesday. So it's a little bit of a rush to get out here and vote for this leadership under this situation.
Well, it looks a little bit suspect to me that they're very concerned about some Republicans that are governed by truth, logic, and common sense, maybe finding a coalition to maybe look in a different direction since our leadership has failed every metric that they said that they were going to accomplish.
Right, exactly. Well, as we go on, let's talk about the things that we need to celebrate here, kind of what's been going on in the last week since the election and the victory of President Trump by popular vote. Electoral College closes the gap by 8%. Gentlemen, I'm just going to throw it open and let you guys comment about this and anything else that comes to your mind about what happened as a result of Tuesday.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, real quick. Absolutely amazing. I went to bed early night election, knew Trump was going to win. And then it comes back with the just sweeping all the swing states and then the popular vote. Absolutely amazing. Could not be more happy. It is really it's a great day for America.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking about the future already, and it seems like last Tuesday was already a year ago, and Trump's done so much with his appointees to date, and he's moving very quickly. So it was a huge, huge deal for this country, and I think about how, this was something that a quarter of an inch, and this would not have happened. So it's truly amazing what's going to happen in the next 4 years. Something that I do want to talk about for the future. I'm reading this morning that McConnell in the Senate is trying to rush a leadership vote to get his leadership team in place, trying to get Rick Scott out of the picture down in Florida. When Donald Trump Jr. and I believe Donald Trump, they want strong leadership, and there's people that are seeing this happening. McConnell's trying to make a power play to keep the establishment moving forward. That kind of goes back to what Chris said, and I don't understand why we need to push a leadership vote through so quickly, especially when we don't have two members. Whenever we need to do this diligently and think this out logically, that we're pushing this vote through. It just this is something that the voters voted against, and you see what's happening with McConnell in D.C. You see what's happening in Illinois, and it's something I think we should wait for.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I know that Mary and I had the privilege of being in Mar-a-Lago on election night, and it was kind of the who's who of everybody who was there, but it kind of felt very surreal because we live in flyover country in the middle of nowhere, and to be down there and watch this thing unfold in real time and the reaction and the response of the people. I mean, it was just an incredible thing to know that there is voters out there that still possess some common sense and understand that with President Trump and the Make America Great movement, that we're going to have a secure border, a booming economy, energy independence, and lower taxes. I mean, what could be wrong with that in the minds of Americans? The thing that I don't understand is what planet that the Democrats live on that they want to badmouth the Make America Great movement. It just blows my mind that they would have a problem with reducing inflation, making groceries affordable again, and then all the other things that I just listed. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know how they're. Maybe
gas below $3 a gallon. I mean, who's going to complain about that?
The list goes on and on and on of the wonderful things that we can look forward to here in America, and we don't have to. With President Trump in the Oval Office, we don't have to worry about our daughters being drafted. We don't have to worry about endless wars. We don't have to worry about funding both sides of the war like we're doing right now. And I mean, the list just goes on and on and on of the wonderful things that we're going to see unfold in this administration. And I mean, just think about the people that he's appointed already to. It's like, I remember distinctly when the Democrats won, they said the adults were going to be back in charge. And I'm like, I mean, I think it's becoming fairly obvious who the adults are. And so we have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot to rejoice about. And I think that the one thing that we need to be is very vocal in our support, because, the attacks on President Trump and the blame game is going to come fast and furious as we go back to the bad idea factory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any comments here on the gun ban, gentlemen, that was issued Friday, or the federal court stuff that was released on Friday afternoon?
Well,
just go ahead.
I was just going to say, we know that ultimately we always knew this was the right decision. I mean, that this law is unconstitutional. That's why you saw the Freedom Caucus all vote against it. You saw, I think all but 2 Republicans vote against it. This is the right decision. This law does not hold up. And of course, this ruling has stayed now, for 30 days. Judge McGlynn, by the way, a Trump appointed judge. So thank you, President Trump, for another victory for us here in Illinois, even in a state that doesn't always elect Republicans. So This ruling was stayed 30 days. We believe, and David probably could speak more to the fact that it's probably going to go through some more court time and maybe even end up in Washington, D.C. at the Supreme Court. But ultimately, we have faith that this law is not going to hold up against the law of the land, because it is unconstitutional. We have the Second Amendment for a reason. And the only reason why we are not subject to a lot of the things that these tyrannical left would do to us is because we are an armed public. And so, David, I'll throw it back over to you.
No, I just like you mean this is not the end of it. It's going to get appealed eventually. I think it will get to the Supreme Court, which I am perfectly okay with given the current makeup of the Supreme Court. And that's another reason to celebrate the election of Donald J. Trump. Is if anybody goes off the court, he's going to be able to put in an original conservative justice on that bench, which we need, because the Supreme Court is where a lot of the social engineering comes from, and that needs to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Gentlemen, any more thoughts on this slide before we move to the next one?
That's a good-looking couple there.
Yeah, it is.
I got all gussied up for that.
Well, let's do this. Director Mosley, let's let you talk about this slide, and then we'll just have real quick closing comments. Let's go Freeze, Niemerg, and Miller to close us out for the evening. So, Director Mosley, help us out as we close out our evening.
Well, hey, this is always the spot to go for the conservative take on Springfield. You're looking for some where you can trust what's going on and read about the conservative angle on Illinois politics. You can go to our website, our Substack, and of course, if you want to support us, the donate button can be clicked over and over and over again. So thanks for tuning in.
Great closing remarks. Representative Freeze, closing remarks.
Just real quick, it's good to be back in Springfield, but I hope this is a short trip. I hope that we actually cancel next week. There's nothing we need to do in Springfield at this time, given the fact that nothing was vetoed. The bad idea factory is just going to pump out more bad bills. So let's punch in and punch out and go home and stop destroying our state.
Yeah, exactly. Representative Niemerg.
That's great, David. Right. Getting it. Folks, just, next couple of weeks, I don't anticipate much to happen. Look forward to lame duck with a lot of the crazy. And just realize in Illinois, the Democrats are going to be doubling down on their agenda. Just realize with them doing this, with them pushing back so hard, it's because we're winning, because the conservative ideology is winning, because we're making so much ground on all these issues countrywide and even in the state of Illinois that they just don't know what to do. So expect the crazy, but realize they're doing it for a reason.
Right. And Representative Niemerg, just so our viewers know, they probably do know this, but lame duck is probably the most dangerous time to be an Illinois citizen. And it'll happen right after you come back from your Christmas and New Year's time with your family and friends. And it'll start, January the 2nd through Inauguration Day, which is January the 8th. And so just be wary of that and have that on your calendar, because that's when that's what we got the Safety Act in 4 years ago. And we got the gun ban 2 years ago. And so it's not good.
No.
Representative Leader Chairman Miller, close us out.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction there, Representative Hallberg. I really appreciate the respectful introduction. But anyway, I think that we need to get down on our knees and thank the good Lord that Donald Trump's back in the White House. We need to pray for his protection. We need to pray for his adversaries in both sides of the aisle, because as we slow by the McConnell and those guys, it's not going to be easy. It's important that we pray for the president, pray for the transition above. We're very grateful that Steve Bannon is back out, the voice of a fun was a little dinner the other night, and he said that before he got out of prison, he was the first and only misdemeanor person that put in this prison that was built in 1932, but they had him teach courses while he was there. But anyway, having that said, thanks for tonight, and remember, truth common sense. We appreciate your prayers and support. God bless.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us, and thank you all for joining us. And as always, we would appreciate that you like, share, follow, and subscribe to our content. That helps us to overcome the algorithmic gods of the big tech overlords. And I guess the only hope now is maybe if Elon Musk would buy Facebook, and then maybe things would be even better. So, yeah, he's doing a great job, and the left is losing their mind over how we need to censor all that stuff that he's a part of. But anyhow, with that, here goes the outro music, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thanks, and have a great evening.
Bye.